to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we approve this, public comment, anybody? Sherry?
Yeah, the siren hasn't been going off a couple of days. Has anybody checked to see if there's a new bird's nest in it?
No, it ain't bird nest.
Oh,
We had to
okay.
kill the power to it.
Oh, is that
They
what?
gotta rerun the power, cause the power to it comes from the post down here and going right across where they're having to dig.
Oh, okay. That must be why the lights were strobing as well last night.
On it?
They were strobing
No,
this
the,
morning too.
All the park
decorative
lights were
Oh.
strobing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they shut off at about 9 o'clock this morning, but yeah, it was really creepy to see
Yeah,
that.
'cause it supposedly right now got all the power killed up there.
Yeah, well, as I said, 9 o'clock this morning they went out, but it was just strange to look out there and see all those blinking lights and.
Anybody else?
I do. I'm worried about all the dirt that's being put out here. I'm afraid the water's all gonna run to the south and flood us out down there in our trailer.
They're supposed to excavate it out or should it, but we'll have to keep our eye on it.
Well, that's what I was kinda
Yeah.
worried about, you know. I mean, they're raising it up, that's gonna be at least 4 to 5 foot higher than what our property is down there. So it put us right in the,
Have little Lake Crystal right beside you.
right around when you step out the door.
No, I'm just sorry about. Okay, well, maybe we'll keep our eye on it for you.
Make sure they get it graded so that
Yeah.
the water,
Goes towards the woods or something there.
well, yeah, of course, that's full of water all the time.
That usually floods the road down there.
They need a drain or something to go
I
down.
think there is one there, but I don't think it works.
I don't think so either, cause there's water there year round.
So like a drain commissioner drain or a
That's what I-
stormwater sewer
I
drain?
think it's the drain commission, ain't it, Chris? It's the one on that side of the road, but it comes up through here across from Stan's and.
I think it's drain commission.
Kevin said that the drain over here, the other day we were talking about it, he said it when it drains and it goes down, it drains this way, but when it drains this way, you're going uphill. So it's flowing, but it's flowing slow because it's going uphill.
I'm surprised it can even go up.
I was gonna say, it has to get deep to go uphill.
I was surprised.
Right.
Yeah, that's just.
Anybody else? Sherry?
I've just got an observation. I was walking down Main Street today and the storm drains on the side of the curb and gutter are so packed that if we, when, you know, just, you might wanna address that before spring hits. And I don't know how they maintenance it or who maintenance it, but, there's no water's gonna drain there. It's packed, so. Might wanna have somebody or whoever take a look at it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Anybody else? If not, we'll move on. I need a motion to approve the agenda and accept the consent agenda.
Before that, Kurt, can we add one more thing under new business?
Yep.
HJ, and it's gonna be an MTA class that I'll go over at that time.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda, accept the consent agenda as amended.
I'll second.
Discussion. Oh, sorry. In the minutes, can we add to the second page, under new business A, that to approve an updated lease for McCracken Farms for term and duration of previous contract pending complete disclosure.
I'm sorry, we're on the last month, January 10th agenda.
January 10th, back page,
Okay,
A,
A,
and go down 7 lines. Updated lease for McCracken Farms for terms and duration of previous contract pending disclosure.
okay.
Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. I need a motion to accept the agenda.
Motion to accept the consent agenda.
I will second that.
Motion by Elise, seconded by Nancy to accept the consent agenda. Any discussion?
Yeah, I think Sarah and I both noticed something. It almost looked like on our attorney bills, he was duplicating payments. It was two different dates, it said the same thing.
Yes, there is a December and a January, or a January and a February that both state drafting our grant policy and cash handling policy and doing the resolution, and they are on both sets of those bills. One is on there like 3 times. So as long as he is working on them and not double billing us, that's fine, but the description is exactly the same.
And it could just be the wording, I don't know, but it just was like, that's a repeat, that's a repeat, and that's a repeat.
And when you find them, you'll see some little underline marks. That was me. Going, wait a minute, didn't I just read this? Wasn't there already a bill for this?
Okay, so you're asking about, 12-2 draft the cash handling. Okay, so we need clarification on those 3 things, right?
Yep. And thank you for remembering, I would have forgotten.
Do you want to approve payment of these, or do we pull payment until we get clarification? Or do we wanna pay these and then I can inquire, and if it's double billed, then we would.
That's fine to do it that way.
Okay.
Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Puts us down to reports, Montgomery County Buzz, Chris?
Yeah, our second meeting in January, we heard, impact report from Macom Economic Alliance. We heard our annual medical examiner's report. We approved, painting bids for the court complex. Eric Smith came in with, some standby rates he wanted to update. They hadn't been updated for like 8 years. For when the ambulance standbys, like football games and stuff like that. And we approved what he had presented to us, and he gave us this whole update. Then at this month's meeting, we had a FOIA appeal that we'd give them all the information that we have, and they're appealing, wanting more information. We don't have anything more to give them, so we denied that. We approved a Commission on Aging, their Title VI plan, which is something the state requested some different wording in it, so he had to update that. We also approved a resolution to waive the right to review township zoning ordinances and stuff, because of dissolving the planning commission. We don't have that anymore, it'd be referred to the West Michigan Planning Commission. And that is about it for now.
So would that be at a cost to the townships, or they
No.
are just the next step up that will do that as regular
Yep.
practice?
Yep.
Okay.
Anybody got any more questions for our commissioner? Okay, thanks, Chris. That moves us down to the fire report. Mike?
For the month of January, we had 3 runs. We had 1 PI accident, we had 2 power lines down, we had a business meeting and a training meeting. The other business I have will be covered later on under new business.
Okay. DBW, which couldn't make it tonight.
Patrick's here.
Okay, what do you wanna do, Pat?
No, I'm just glad to be at work. That, and I'm glad I brought that up about the dumpster getting that fixed.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Thank you for noticing.
And thank you for being at that meeting. That was important that you guys were there.
Okay, Duck Lake improvement, Shirley,
Next meeting's in April, nothing, just.
April. Downtown Development Authority, Dave?
Yeah, a couple of items. Of course, the Winter Festival is this Saturday. The weather has canceled a couple of the events. The airplanes won't be landing on the ice, for example. Fishing derby has been called off. And I don't think the vintage snowmobiles will be here, but we'll see what he ends up doing. Other than that, the craft show and all the other games and the theater, the free show and everything else is going on. And I would point out that this year we're giving away $50 to the chili winner, for the individual chilies. So we're trying to give everybody an incentive to supply a pint of their best chili. And we'll see how that turns out. And that's the Winterfest. We also held a meeting with the greet and meet session with the Michigan Economic Development Corporation representative last week. And I think we got a lot of good input. We got some ideas of what future grants are available and also for the businesses. And I would expect we'll have another more formal meeting with her when we can get our thoughts together. And lastly, we have resolved our TIF collection process. So I've resolved that with Stanton, and I think we've got putting in place a procedure where we'll be sure to get our full TIF amount every year. So I think I finally resolved that issue. It's been out there for about 15 years so far, 20 actually, because the delinquent tax collection was always a problem. When delinquent taxes were collected, we never got our TIF monies back from the county, and that went on for the last 20 years. So I think I got it resolved, and when they send us a check, I'll pass that on to them.
Okay,
And there's some money.
thanks, Dave.
Okay.
Nancy, got a question for you, Dave?
Do you think they're going to realize what they owe you and send it to you, or?
No, I can tell you, it's, right now, they're gonna send a check for about 2,900, about just under 3,000. If you add that to the previous check, that's about a little under $6,000.
So you're looking at past?
Yeah, and I limited it to 7 years. That's really the financial limits you can go back on records. And so I agreed to only go 7 years.
Have they resolved it, or between the two of you, have you resolved what you want to do going forward?
Yeah, there's the DDA will be passing a resolution. You know, some of the elements we're not collecting this year. The DDA will pass a resolution to start collecting those again. That'll be those same elements. That's within the TIF.
Yeah, that's not what I mean.
Oh, that part of it.
I'll talk to you about it later.
Oh, okay.
That's fine. Thank you.
Yeah, there's a couple of reports you produce every year that
Right.
we'll look at, and then they've agreed to allow us to invoice them, so the DDA will invoice Montcalm directly.
Okay, all right, sounds good, thanks.
Thanks, Dave. That puts us down to the police report. He's not here. He had 153.5 traffic patrol hours. Traffic-related complaint hours is 12.5. Criminal complaint hours is 30. Non-criminal activity hours is 12. Court procedure hours was 5. Report time was 12.5 or 17.5. Community service is 2.5. Total hours is 223. He assists the police and EMS and the fire 21 times. Domestic disturbance 4. Traffic crash 3. Community service work 1. A missing person 1. Traffic related 6. Warrants and arrest attempt 4. Larcenies 1. Suicide mental well-being check 1. Total investigations was 42 and total criminal arrests was 4. Traffic stops 32, citations 6, verbal warnings 24, miscellaneous subject investigation 2, car assist 1, property inspection 103, liquor inspection 2, total miles of patrol 3,659. That puts us down to the trustees report. Sarah?
We did statutory duties last month, so we are doing non-statutory duties this month. And this is a non-complete list. And I would really like to know, like, what other non-statutory duties everyone completes. and how we have all of these divided up. And if it is, balanced, or if somebody's got way too much on their plate.
Most of these one person is doing,
Yeah.
which is Pat.
Thoughts about that?
Well, it doesn't seem very fair.
No, it does not seem very fair, because the election changes made elections way more involved. And, if I can pull these out of my ear, and I know there are more than that, it does not really seem fair that one person gets all the file on them.
Totally agree. And I also know that there's been several conversations that, she would be allowed to be paid for these non-statutory duties too.
Yeah.
Not just combined with her, statutory duties and what she makes right now.
Yeah, but getting our arms kind of around that thought that, we have our statutory duties and we're 24 hours a day, we are officials, but these non-statutory duties make everything keep working. And I think we should share the load a little bit.
I agree. What do you think you spend the most time on?
Just depends on the week and,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, the day. You just never know. Cemetery sexton duties, they might be nothing for weeks.
Right, but then you might have 10 in line, and if that coincides with when you've got an election going, something's gonna hit. So some sort of dispersion of some of these non-statutory duties, I think would go a really long way in the form of us being transparent with all our constituents and us working as a team better together. Because like driving out of here on Monday and being like, okay, there are way too many cars up there. I know some of those cars. Hey Nancy, what's going on? Like, that is not good communication that we have to go telephoning. An email with, hey, we had a thing, would have been great. That will help communication when we all communicate with each other. And that is your trustee report for today.
Okay, no correspondence, unfinished business, policies, video monitoring.
Video monitoring is pretty close to good to go, I think.
Yeah.
Read through it, there's some blanks for us to fill out, but I don't think we really need to do much to this one. And I am fine bypassing the attorney at this point with this one, because with the compactor program, we know that there are issues with what's going on with monitoring. Procedures weren't done in all the areas, so we wanted to get ahead of that, and it ended up being right at the same time. But since there is one on the ballot, this covers all our cameras. If we want to put more up for security purposes, it would also cover those.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with this. And I don't see anything that really needs to be added.
Well, Patty, would you want to keep an eye on your camera at the ballot box currently?
I don't really look at, but yeah.
But if you would need to,
If
you're the
something
person to
happened, I would be
review.
the one that would look at it,
And the compactor will be Nancy keeping an eye on it from her workstation.
It's on my laptop right now.
Okay, so,
Sounds good.
all right. So I will get those filled the rest of the way out, and we can put this into place at the next meeting. The next policy we have, since we were going a little bit sideways with our spending policy, I ran into at the county. They have an expenditure policy right on their budget. You can access it on their website. Go to the Board of Commissioners, fiscal year budget, and right at the beginning is bam, how they spend their money. So I consulted with them and said, can we please use this? And they said, absolutely, you can use it. So this is straight from what they have right now. So it says controller. It has their price cutoff lines. So I don't think we would need $5,000 as a township. The county does, we don't. We need to come up with some number 2 or 3 sounds reasonable to me for, you know, purchases that need to be done without coming to the board by a department head.
I think 3 is ideal.
You like 3?
I do like 3.
Nancy and I had planned to get together and do our general ledger numbers.
That didn't happen.
No, it did not. It's fine.
It
We
will.
had planned to, but yeah, that is, we were sitting on that. Read it over. Replacing the general ledger and controller with clerk and or treasurer.
Or whatever, whoever.
Yes.
Exactly.
Do we have any feedback on any of the prior policies?
I contacted him, still hasn't. Didn't have anything finalized. I will add it to my questions when I'm talking about the bill.
Oh, he's got his own separate line item down here. You guys, do you have any? How I've said, sending you home with homework, look at these, change them around, redline them? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to cover some of that.
Mike?
We're not done with that.
How is this gonna handle, be taken care of for maintenance items? If you've got a $3,000 limit, spending limit, I've got a truck that goes down, I need to get it in the shop, do I have to wait and come back to the board after I get an estimate to get it fixed?
There will be an exigent circumstance.
Okay, that's what I was just wondering how we're gonna handle that part of it, that was my only question.
We're not done with this.
We wanna keep the fire trucks and the factory truck running at all costs.
Okay, that moves us down to B, compactor. Nancy?
Oh, that's me. Okay, well, the new compactors are here. Hands off any buttons. You don't need to put any buttons. They are automatic. The red flashing light is fine. That tells us it's working. They probably will change those out because people don't like red flashing lights, but that's how they came.
So they're trying to swap them with green ones, so everybody will be
But
happy.
for right now, they're red flashing lights, but that, I can look at really quickly and see that there's not a problem, because if they go out, there's a problem.
So if
There's
you don't
much-
see red flashing like then there's a problem.
Yeah, if that red light's not flashing, there's, yeah, it needs to be reset. Patrick knows how, I could if I had to, Mitchell knows how,
No red light.
yeah. There's smaller openings, there's a reason for that, you know, we're not, you don't just dump things in, don't drop bags in, bags don't, this is coming from Eagle, it really is. Eagle started this, we're just the first county to follow it. Your cardboard's gonna have to be folded up more, your corrugated cardboard, so, and you will have to feed things in.
Thank you.
The compactor itself is gonna save us not having a weekly pickup. Could go 3 weeks, a month, maybe more, in the winter. So,
On the cardboard, when she means by compacting your cardboard, you can't just take a cardboard box, you gotta break both sides where it's flat, stick it in there, cause a cardboard box about 1 foot tall is not gonna fit in the gap, so you gotta crush it. And the same on the plastic, if you got the big laundry soap containers, you gotta take the cap off, crush it, put the cap back on, and then put it in there, because the holes are small, so you can't just take like a grocery basket of stuff and just, it won't fit. But it'll go in there.
and that's why there's a little ledge, you know.
Oh, yeah,
So that you could set your bag there and feed it, you know,
I
sorry,
don't have a problem.
but, yeah.
And it
it's
keeps
what
the
is.
solid waste committee from paying $5,000 for messed up loads.
Yeah, actually, it's, we're now
Yes,
materials
exactly.
management, but yeah,
Yeah.
so, yeah, and remember, the materials management committee pays for all this. No resident of the township or anywhere in Montcalm County pays for any of this recycling, it's free.
And anyone in the county can use any of the recycling compactors in any community.
Just an adjustment, get used to. So, and I think that's it.
Puts us down to C, Michigan 1, or CD.
Yeah, okay, so we are in our renewal period, we have until Tuesday. If we don't do anything by Tuesday, it's gonna roll over. So, I have numbers, but, before I get to the numbers, are we gonna need this? We do have 6 months, that I got 6 month prices, but do we have 6 months? That's,
I don't think we do,
I don't think we can either.
because their substantial completion date is Memorial Day.
That's what I
Final
thought.
completion date is 4th of July,
yeah.
so I think, I hate to
I
cash
know,
it in,
that's my
but I
thought.
think it'd be safer to cash it in and not need it in,
That's-
And
July
then
5th.
do a CD when we
yeah.
get through that.
Exactly, yeah. 'cause I
I'm
mean,
sure probably,
6 months is August 8th.
Yeah.
March board meeting, I imagine you're gonna have a draw.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah,
Well, he's got one, but is that,
yeah,
that's
that's
Wolverine's got the
Wolverine's,
draw.
right.
So Pat, you and I have to go to the bank,
Oh.
the credit union, I'm assuming,
Okay,
I'll find out if both.
We're gonna be closed Monday and Saturday, so.
Well, the credit union, yeah, the
Yeah,
'Cause I
credit
got
union
that on my website saying you're gonna
was
be
not
closed.
closed the last holiday. Or was it Sydney that wasn't closed the last holiday?
Sydney wasn't, but they were
It was
closed.
Sydney, okay, so
I know
anyway,
we're closed Monday, so.
all right, so I guess by Friday we have to go.
okay.
Okay, I'll keep it going. There were some pretty good rates still,
I
but
know.
we'll go forward from there.
Okay, that moves us down to D, sewer department ag contract. This is what the lawyer wanted me to do, I guess. Actually, just the closure order.
Disclosure?
This does not, disclose any pecuniary interest whatsoever. Did you have him read
Yeah.
Public Act 317 of 1968? Because it lays out what should be in there, and more should be in here than this.
What's it missing?
Pecuniary interest is the value realized. The value, whether you sell it or not, the value of the crop that comes off of it is a pecuniary interest. So like, how many acres, how many bales, what are bales going for? Something to that effect.
I don't know how many bales I'm gonna get off in a year.
You go on prior years.
No, you don't, cause out there every year they drop.
That's what pecuniary interest is the value of something you are receiving. The value of the crops you are getting from that property, that's your pecuniary interest in it.
Is that in, is that in?
It
the-
was, what I'm wondering right
Contract.
now is how is it worded for when he had to disclose that?
I have the act. It should
Well,
be-
no, I thought we had, well, my last month was in my office, it was worded as, there was a date he had to, you had to reveal that.
There you go.
Not that, there, in our,
In our meeting notes.
in our
Right, but he
meeting
took
notes.
it from this, and it is 7 days before, right there.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay, I got you.
Public servant promptly discloses in writing to the presiding officer, if the presiding officer is the public servant who is a party to the contract, to the clerk, the pecuniary interest in the contract at least 7 days prior to the meeting of which it will be taken. So if you are making money off a property you are renting from the township, what amount, equal value, if you had to go buy hay, would that be? That's pecuniary.
I'll send it back to him and. How much more money you guys wanna waste on it? You're already over $4,000.
This is your disclosure, this is your conflict of interest, you need to do it.
Well, your lawyer's gonna have to do it too. Prove it.
The board lawyer?
He shouldn't be involved.
No. This isn't from the board attorney, right?
No, but he's
Okay.
gonna have to prove what I write up.
Right, but like, we should be working as a team. You realize that hay that gets fed to cows has a value. That is a pecuniary interest. it is laid out in this Public Act of 1968 that the person who is receiving it discloses fully and completely the pecuniary interest.
And that puts us down to new business. Charter franchise agreement resolution.
Why do we wanna do this?
That's what I was gonna ask.
I don't wanna do it.
I think we have to.
Why?
We have the choice to
That's not
make
what I
the
read.
fee 0% to 5%.
Correct,
And our residents will be paying that percentage,
yes, and I.
just for utilizing a service that we allow to be here.
That's what I read too, yeah, and I think we just ran out, as it is and everything. So I would rather charge nothing.
So 0 instead of 5%?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. That would be my, if you want a motion on that, I would like to make that
So adjust the
zero.
resolution fee on 3 to be 0%.
Yes,
This is a franchise fee for charter cable. For video providers have to franchise with the locality.
They're not in your community, in your township.
They are now because they got some money from the Robin grant.
Are they overbuilding the area?
Don't know. I didn't get the letter, we just got the letter in our board packet and it seemed fishy to me.
Normally a franchise fee, what it entails is if they're providing video content within your area, they pay you a franchise fee.
That is not how this contract works.
What happens is it's just a flow-through fee. They charge it to the customer,
right.
and it comes right back around and comes back to the township.
Yeah, right.
So
we
whatever
got
you,
that.
whatever you assign as far as the franchise fee, it's a pass-through for them.
We don't wanna charge
Charter's
anybody
not, I mean,
that lives in Crystal Township any more money than what they have to pay.
Right.
But we-
Charter did a blanket statewide is what they've done. They went everywhere, whether they're providing services or not, and they're just doing a statewide franchise. If it makes sense for them to come in and build to an area, then they would come back and try to do that. But I don't see where Crystal Township's gonna get overbuilt by charter cable, because the competition's already here, so.
Right,
I would make a motion to approve this resolution, changing number 3 to a 0% franchise fee.
I'll second.
Motion by Patty, second by Sarah. Accept this resolution by changing the 5% to 0 on 3. Give a roll call, read.
Yeah, I'll do roll call. Alicia?
Yay.
Pat, yes. Kurt?
Yes.
Nancy? Yes. Sarah?
Yes.
Puts us down to B, resolution, eliminate penalties on our taxes. Till what, in February?
yeah, between the 15th, which is tomorrow, and the last day of February, there will be no penalties charged on winter taxes. Is the motion in front of us?
I'll make a motion that we approve this resolution.
I'll second.
Motion by Patty, second by Sarah to accept this resolution.
Sarah?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Kurt?
Yes.
Pat, yes.
Yes, yes.
Contract with Granger for spring cleanup to be held April 13th.
Date was that then?
April 13th from 8 until noon.
Saturday, Pat?
Yep.
Okay.
I just wanted approval to sign this contract with Granger.
I will first let you know that Tire Electronics and HHW are both gonna be in May. So we will be able to maybe save some things to take there. I did not write down where. I will get that to you.
Okay.
But I would make a motion to approve that contract.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Nancy, second by Lisa. That Patty signed the contract for Ranger for spring cleanup, April 13th. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. CMS server estimate.
gave you the email that came from Brandon. I didn't know if people had questions, if you wanted them to come to a meeting to answer questions, what people's thoughts were.
That would be good. Because just doing a little price check on some of this, you can get your Google fingers working for yourself, but you'll see.
Okay. So I'll see if they can come to the next meeting.
Said last month that we might need to have our lot surveyed out back.
I contacted 3, and this was the only one that got back to me with an estimate. Clark's.
Art surveying out of Carson City for $780.
I have a comment. Is there any other way this could be resolved rather than going forward the way we chose to at the last meeting?
Last I talked to Cop, he hadn't interviewed him yet. But,
Maybe wait till we hear from the police
That's what
officer.
'cause we might not even need it.
Yeah, I would wait on this.
Table.
Okay, Youth League.
They're here.
Hi,
Oh,
my name is Tammy,
Hello.
and I'm from the Carson City Youth League. We hold our softball and baseball at your fields, and we love the space, we appreciate the space. Last year we had 170 some children. This year we're hoping to maybe have closer to 200. But today we just wanted to give you an estimate. The fields have been really used, and we'd like some new footing on them. If you guys are willing to look at this for when you have your budget meeting, or if you're willing to help us put some money towards those fields, I have volunteers and parents that will put in the time and the work. We just really need some help with getting the new footing.
Right, well, look at it this way, that's our property, so
we
this is
should-
something that we can maintain.
So are you asking
You don't wanna
for-
wait till our budget
Well-
meeting, that's in June.
Oh,
You want
okay.
this done before that.
Okay, I didn't know when you had your budget meeting. So I contacted Grand Rapids Gravel Company, who has the footing that goes on the fields. It's called Stone Dust. John did the math. We did some calculations. We need about 30 yards of footing. And that particular footing is safe for the kids to slide on, all that kind of stuff. It's $32 a ton. And then there's a delivery fee. If you're tax exempt, you're looking at $2,068.50 total to get what we've kind of calculated out that we need to get those fields in good shape,
include the trucking.
including the trucking. If you have any questions, my contact is Bob. He said he will keep this estimate good until you guys make your decision. And he's able to deliver in April, which is when I plan on holding my spring cleanup, so that we can get the weeds taken out of the fields, we can get your dugouts painted, and then we're gonna hopefully put some new footing on those fields so the kids can start playing ball in May.
So this is like the crusher dust? Is
Yes.
that what this is?
Yeah, in the past, they've called it diamond dust, there's different
How
field.
many years ago did we do this?
I don't remember us ever doing it, but that
Sorry, I
doesn't
don't
mean
mean
anything.
Mother made it.
So at our next board meeting, that'd be quick enough answer, or you need?
Yes, yep,
Okay.
yep. So I just wanna give you
Because that's gonna be a full
fix
month,
this.
is that okay?
That's okay.
Full month,
Yep.
okay.
It'll be the
said
second Wednesday.
He's happy to give you guys time to think about it. This product's not the easiest to find, so it was, there's a lot of,
We have the money to go.
We have the
Do
money
they
to
need
look
it?
at
I mean,
We have that.
I move that we take care of the
I'm
ball
gonna-
fields with the crushed dust for the kids to play.
and I'm gonna second that.
well, the youth league really appreciates you guys. Thank you for letting us use your fields.
Motion by Sarah, seconded by Leish, to go ahead and spend the $21,92.61 That's taxes, so.
Alright,
2,068.50.
alrighty. Yeah, make sure
Any
you
more
get our tax
discussion?
exempt. So, yeah, pretty important, because they need the tax exempt, but we need for when we write the check, whatever, so.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
I'll contact Bob within the next couple of days.
Yep,
and
that
see
sounds
what he
great.
needs from us.
Perfect, thank you, Pat.
If we don't use it all, is there a place to store it there?
There's nothing in that
Yeah.
building, is there?
You want to store it in the building, I don't think.
Well, I mean, can we keep it off
It'll be bought,
to the
won't it?
side
Yeah.
for repairs throughout the season?
Okay, how do you store it? We can't just leave it outside, can we?
Yeah.
Give me some ideas. Give me some ideas, that's it?
It
It's
can go
outside,
Just a
okay.
place that we can have a pile of it that we can take from and fix fields throughout the
End
year.
of the,
We could probably pile it if you
I'm
don't want
guessing
real
it'll
close.
all go to work.
We got
all
the
go
old
to
hockey
use
rink,
right
it's
out
got
of the
turf
gate.
in it, we could pile probably the south end of that.
Yeah, because there's a lot of younger kids that play throughout there while their
Right.
siblings are
Right.
playing, and they're, oh, yeah, look at this white stuff, let's go for it.
right.
Pretty sure
No,
it'll all
it's-
go to use right out of
It's,
the gate.
Okay,
you know.
so yeah, we'll find you a
it's-
place,
Okay.
how about that?
Okay, that moves us down, Mike, Fire Department airboat.
One of the hurdles we've been running into is our fire department, we're certified in ice rescue. We're also certified in open water rescue currently. We've been looking for a boat that could do both duties, both using it on the ice as well as on the water if we needed to. And this happened to come up on Facebook Marketplace, so we went down and took a look at it. Took it for a ride. It's got what's called an ice hull, so it's actually got a thicker hull underneath and on the sidewalls. Did some looking around, shopping around, and found 3 or 4 other ones, and the price is outrageous on the other ones. They started about $50,000 and worked their way up. This one was $20,500 is what he's asking. We can get it cheaper than that, but I'm hesitant on going too much cheaper based on the fact that we're gonna have to have it painted. There's a couple of things that we need to have done with it before we would be able to put it in service, but, currently on Crystal Lake, we've got access to the police's boat if we needed it. We also use our private boats as well if we have a situation with open water or if we have a fire on the island. We've used our personal watercraft to go take pumps, personnel, hoses out to that point. But if we have a situation that's not on Crystal Lake, we're kind of hamstrung. If somebody goes through the ice on Duck Lake, we have no way to get out there without utilizing our 800-foot rope on a spool, which is a spool about this tall with 800 feet of rope on it. It's kind of hard to manage. And we can't do it in a timely manner. That's our biggest issue, is being able to do it in a timely manner. As an example, we had a gentleman went through Swan Lake right after we got certified. We happened to get out there, got him out, got him back on shore, in the ambulance leaving when the Montcalm County dive team showed up. We did a rescue instead of a recovery, just based on the fact that we were able to deploy. Had he been farther out, we didn't have the rope to get to him. So what I was requesting was the $20,500 to purchase this airboat from the gentleman down in Davison. He's willing to bring it up here and go through the operation with our department on it as well. So that was what I was proposing.
You think you've got the manpower to, are you gonna be, so if Turk Lake wants you, you're gonna take off for Turk Lake with it, or?
Lakeview has a device up at Lakeview, we go to Turk Lake before we would. If we were called to go somewhere, we would take a personnel and go over and run the boat. They have to have their own people in the boat to do the rescue themselves. We're looking to set that up. If we get this device, that's one of our policies that's gonna get put in place.
With a charge to it, or?
We have automatic mutual aid with all the departments within our county. If we needed them here, we call, they come, they don't charge us. If somebody goes through the ice over there, my first concern is not the money side, I'm gonna let you know that right now. It's getting that person off the ice and back on land where they're safe. I can't put a price tag on somebody's life. So,
Really, for ice, about all it's gonna be good for.
no, it's for open water as well.
Well, look at the one that drowned out here, was it a year ago, 2 years ago?
Mhm.
the dive team didn't even want you guys around.
No, at that point in time, it's not a rescue, it was a recovery.
Yeah.
And that's why, that's the difference between the two. If we have a boat accident out there and they got people in the water, we could deploy it. If we have to go to the island with fire gear equipment because we got the houses on fire, or they got a brush fire out there, we've had a couple of them already. I personally threw the stuff on my boat and took it out there. If I'm not there, this would be housed in the fire department. Any of the personnel will be trained on it, they can dispatch with it. That's our, one of the benefits to this is that if you do both open water and the ice rescue as well, so.
We do have 3 lakes.
Well, and it's public safety, you know, there is not a price on somebody's life, and just, what, a week and a half ago, the kid who was missing, and did he go fishing and what?
Right.
You know, and everybody'd have been SOL and whatever would have been, there would have been no chance to do anything.
What is gonna be the cost of equipping this to be what we need it to be?
As far as equipping it, the only thing that we will have to look at is additional life jackets for it currently. It has its own LED lighting bars already on it. We would be able to take the existing equipment that we currently have, that we deploy as we walk out onto the ice, and move it closer to where the people are. We would put our survival suits on, get in the boat, get our personnel out to where the person's at. We're not gonna drive them right up to them on the ice, because you don't want it breaking away from the people. And we would then be able to get to them in a timely manner, as opposed to walking from either of the boat launches all the way out to the other side of the island or somewhere in that fashion, so.
Knowing how much people push the ice and the ice fishing, and watching them like a mom and being like, great, now I gotta watch this fisherman I don't know, cause he might go through the water and I'm gonna feel awful if I like, oh yeah, I saw him out there, whoops.
Yeah.
You know, so having something to respond to such a thing when, you know, the lakes are kind of what everybody's all around here, makes perfect sense to me.
The only problem I've got with it, Mike, is we've got a brand new fire truck out there, boy, we had it almost 3 years. And we don't even have hoses on that yet before we can fight a fire. We're
Really?
using it as a water tank.
You wanna go look at them? There's hose on the truck.
You can use it to fight fire with.
Absolutely. Come and ask me, Kurt.
Okay, that's what I heard.
Yep, come and ask me, Kurt.
How many?
And, no, I'll fill you in on that. We've got hose on that truck, we've got spare hose that sits on a rack out there as well. It's not set up for a Class A pumper yet. That new truck has hose on it that you can pump with. When we decommission the old pumper, that hose goes onto this truck. It then becomes a Class A pumper. Right now, it's used for a water tender, and we don't want it for a pumper because it'll get stuck at a scene and now you can't haul water back and forth. And this has been shared with the people on the department as well. So,
So it's a tanker, not a pumper?
it does both. When we bought the latest truck, it is a pumper tanker. It will be used to replace our secondary pumper when the time comes to
But
replace
right
that truck.
now, it's a tanker.
Right now, it's used as a water tender. It hauls water, but it can pump water as well. Yes, and there's hose on it, there's nozzles on it as well.
Probably need a call to the insurance to see what kind of effect that will have.
What's your firemen think about it?
All 5 of them that went with me said that they thought it was a great idea. You could ask, Pat was there as well, you could ask Pat.
I rode on the boat. I myself, I think it would be a good asset, but I was asked by some people that live in the township and out of the township. Granted, the taxes aren't what, I don't follow any of the guidelines or whatever, but they asked me if the township's paying for it and they're in a different township, why would you guys have to pay for everything when another township can use it? If they have you called more, like say Vesterberg, if they call us 4 times in a year, and they don't have to pay the 20 grand for the airboat, we pay it. Granted, we're saving a person, but the other department paid 20 grand for it, where this department didn't have to pay a dime. And they're the ones using it. That was the only thing that they asked me, but you know, I'm a fireman, I'm a lieutenant now, but I agree with them but I agree that it would be an asset. But it's the 50-50 thing, you know, what do you do? Do you charge, and even if it was a fuel fee or something, cause we have to pay for it to get fixed.
That's.
Like our air truck, we use our air truck to go to Ashley, down to the Hubbardston fire we had 3-4 years ago. Did we get reimbursed for emptying all of our tanks to fill air tanks? And if something breaks, Crystal Township has to pay for it, to fix it. So the truck's out of commission until it gets fixed. We pay for it. And if it gets broke at some other department or county, is it fair that Crystal Township people have to pay for the fire truck to get fixed when other areas, or they're using it and they don't have to pay nothing? That's the thing that I was asked, and, you know, I'm not a board member, I'm not a higher up person, I can't really answer that question, that's just, yeah, I kinda see your point, but they see my point too, that that's,
Mike, didn't you kind of go over that previously with what we were discussing about where you respond to different places and?
Right. We've got agreements in place, countywide mutual aid agreement with all the fire departments in the county. If we have main streets on fire, we can call. They'll show up, there's no money, exchanges hands.
Right.
If we go, you know, we have automatic mutual aid with some departments currently, and it's the same thing. They automatically, if we have a structure fire, Carson automatically sends a tanker immediately. If we get there, we can call for a full response after that point in time if we need to, once we assess the scene. We have it with Richland as well. We're working on getting the details there. We're working with Day Township, Stanton, and Sheridan as well on these same items. We've got certain areas where we got some pockets and some areas that we need to have automatic mutual aid for. We can write up our own ordinance on this saying that, you know what, we won't take it out of a certain area. Evergreen Township pays us additional funding,
Right.
as does Ferris does, but that's fire coverage. Do we move this into a different scenario? We can do that. We can assign a fee to it. We'll have to be very specific with them and how we want to set this up. I don't have a problem doing that, but those are options we can utilize if we need to. So,
How much, when you brought it up the last time, do you ever remember how much the Lake Association said they'd chip in?
I don't.
'Cause I think Tim came to the next board meeting and said they'd be willing to chip some money in.
That I didn't hear. but
Yeah,
I did.
he did.
Did he? Okay.
It was before Tim left and before Brad
Yeah.
came on, yeah.
Okay. Well, that'd be great. We could do something with that. That'd be awesome.
I would make a motion that we let him purchase that boat. We'll get a hold of, the Lake Association, see if they still wanna chip in. We are still waiting for the 10,000 from the fireman equipment fund, but I checked with Carson City. They haven't gotten theirs yet either, so that is still coming.
Nobody's got them yet.
Yeah, we
They
don't know
haven't
why.
been sent out. Our fire chief's meeting, last week, nobody's got them yet.
We don't know that's why.
So I thought it was March timeframe, and they're gonna be going to be, sending those out anyways, is it not? Yeah.
I never heard that, so
Okay.
I don't know. I was just wondering why you hadn't gotten it, or why.
Did
you
we
hadn't-
get a letter back or confirmation that they would be sending us a check?
No, I never got anything like that.
I haven't seen anything yet either, but
No.
we were approved for it. We sent it in the time it had to be sent in by, so.
Yeah,
But I know
yeah,
that was a topic the other night at our fire chiefs meeting, was that nobody had gotten anything back from it yet, so,
okay.
Yeah, they let us know he's approved.
yeah.
Yeah, we're approved, all the
Yeah.
things we're sending, I've got copies of the email of me sending it, there's no website to visit anymore for it, so,
And there is a motion on the table.
yeah.
You
there's
got a
motion on the
second?
I'll
table.
second.
Motion by Nancy, second by Sarah, to put the fire department purchase their airboat. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Aye.
Where would this boat be setting?
In our fire station on a trailer, it has its own trailer. it comes
Do
with.
we have to buy a vehicle to haul the boat
No,
separately?
we have enough vehicles to haul the boat with separately, that are set up with the right hitch and everything.
Puts us down to H, the discussion of community center rental.
Okay, I know some of you are on social media, and some of you are not, but there's been some grumblings. And it was in, September that we got rid of the stove. And we talked about we're gonna get a 4-burner stove. If we're gonna rent facilities out, we need to make sure that they have what folks are expecting and they're in working order. Like, that the drains aren't working is crazy.
We have 3 drains that need fixed, at least.
So, yeah, is there discussion to be had, or are we on the same page there?
I guess I didn't realize there were 3 drains in the kitchen that didn't work. I knew the garbage disposal didn't
I
work.
think
but
that's the
was
only thing that don't work in the
one
kitchen.
I'm aware of, but
I
And
think,
that's the garbage disposal,
Right.
not the drain.
okay, I'm not even talking about that.
okay.
The one on, let's see, the north wall, I believe, there's that drain.
That's the garbage disposal.
Let me go that way, west wall, sorry.
Okay.
I think there's a problem there, there's a problem back where Beth works. I think that dumps right into an open hole, there's no drain pipe. And Rosie told me that the classroom down at the very end of the hall on the right-hand side, that doesn't drain either.
Yeah, that one has been a problem forever, but they don't use that room.
So we just let things go, that's what I don't like, we just let it go.
I mean,
That drives me nuts.
and I guess the only thing I say about the room down, it's an empty room that's not used for anything. I guess we need to prioritize and get, I'm not saying it doesn't need to be fixed, but I'm saying maybe we need to prioritize some other.
Is that the room where the gal was gonna try and do the
Yes.
daycare and we haven't
Yeah,
heard anything?
Yep, and they took the mats out. And that, I know that Roger had problems with that drain back in the day when Head Start used to be in there, so.
Well, since we're renting it out, and there probably is rentals coming up, right? I move that we replace the stove with a 4-burner stove and an oven, and call a plumber and get the drains fixed, please.
I would second that. I don't know any plumbers around here, I don't know any plumbers. So I can help make calls if you want.
So do we get bids on the stove? Oh, I guess we,
Stove, you want bids on the plumbing or just do it?
or even the stove, just go.
If we're renting it out, the drains need to work, it's part of building maintenance.
Right.
The drains need to work. If we're talking crazy town, if they come in and look at it and say, dude, $3,000, okay, we need to get some more quotes, and put this before the whole board. You know, if it's under that, make it work.
And say with the stove, where do you want, do we want?
You can go
Bare bones, electric, cause they can't have gas for
Right,
the
wait a
pay
minute.
cap, right?
No, they can have gas.
They can?
Just couldn't be a 6-burner, wasn't it?
Burn electric, 'cause we have.
Ah, okay, so we can have gas.
It'll have to be a natural gas.
Just buy a stove.
Yeah, a basic model,
What?
no bells and
Just
whistles.
go down.
Capped off, or
Huh?
did
There's a valve there, you
you
can
put
shut
it
it
out?
off.
Okay, all right, okay.
You just
Or
go-
not rent it anymore,
A lot
and
of
then it's
people,
just
the
sitting.
rent's different there. A lot of people just rent the gym, and there's more rent if you wanna rent the kitchen with it, and which a lot of people don't.
And a few
Mostly
people
gym.
are real upset that they rented it and had all their stuff planned and got here, and we're like, nobody told us.
It's kinda interesting, I never heard anybody complain to me about that.
It's on Facebook, dude, you can
It's on
find it.
Facebook. I'm not a big Facebook, so.
Okay. Motion by Sarah, second by Nancy to purchase a 4-place gas stove and get a plumber in. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, meeting notices. We had a little snafu with some of our meeting notices, and I didn't even realize that the ballot check was going on and was an open meeting. I had no idea. So I would request that any meetings that get posted on the door, I get sent that exact verbiage that went on the door. Please to post on the website so we can stay in compliance. Attorney, lag time of work product. I've worked with attorneys before, and I have never waited 3 months for a return of a work product at all, ever, let alone 5 months for a templated policy. That seems very out of the norm to me. And I don't know if you guys feel that way, don't feel that way. It just does not seem to facilitate us getting our work done in a timely manner.
It does seem like it takes a while occasionally, it really does. I'm not sure how to fix it.
No, I'm not either, but we're gonna be at that conference and all the municipal attorneys will be there,
Sure.
including ours. Or at least his seconds in command will be there, but I just think it's crazy that we're waiting that many months to be able to move ahead with something. You know, I'm not fast with the policies, but I've stopped because we're so backed up.
And maybe, like, if the MTA conference, you guys can talk to them and say, what the,
Yep, we definitely are going to do that. Also, do we have any answer on the other sewer issue from the attorney? That was months ago. I requested a summary about the meeting you guys were gonna have with the drain commissioner.
Did we ever?
oh, we haven't, no.
No, because he wants to talk to the drain commissioner's attorney.
But that's,
See, that's just, this
but
is
that's
where it's
what
going. And more billable hours, more billable hours.
that's what's
Here we go.
taking so long. There's no reason, I'm with you, there's no reason it should take
No,
this long.
I've
It's a
never
simple-
had an attorney take this long to return things,
It's a
ever.
simple conversation,
Yes.
you know what I mean? Schedule them all the time.
And then insurance. What activities can volunteers do? And if you're outdoor work, can you use hedge clippers? Can you paint? Can you sand? Can you weed whack?
When I talked to Dave, he said volunteers can do anything you want them to do, the only thing is they are not covered by your workers' compensation.
But they are covered by regular liability.
Except they can't drive either.
Right, you wouldn't recommend them driving the
Not unless we
vehicles.
do a
But
driver's
he
license
said
and
that,
check.
you know, so if they're out sucking leaves and break somebody's window or whatever, you know, then our insurance would cover any damages with that, but if that person's
Breaks a
injured,
leg or something.
yeah, if they're injured, then it's not covered under workers' compensation.
Okay.
He more or less said if you're gonna do that, you'd probably be money ahead to hire them for a day or two, then they'd be covered.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Alright, leaves and snow, cause I do not really wanna let that go. Until we get something figured out with it, and thinking about all the different possibilities and riding around with Mitch and talking about stuff. I'm of the mind that the people doing the work probably need to make the procedure that works best for them. Mitch, or, sorry, Pat. Do you wanna pepper in on that?
Well, I wasn't here when he did leaf pickup, but I've talked to him about it and everything, and his biggest thing that he was telling me was if they go down a side street, and some of these side streets are tight, you can't turn around with the truck and a big trailer. You gotta back all the way down till you get to the main street, then you gotta back out onto that street, turn around, and then turn around and back all the way back down the street, and it's a pain in the but you can do it. But when people don't have their leaves out there, when they go down that street, 2 days later, they call to the township and complain because their leaves weren't picked up. Well, when you got a set schedule, when you go down, say you go down Main Street on Monday, you go down one of the sides, the next side street the next day, then they go and put their leaves out.
Yeah.
They shouldn't call and complain that their leaves didn't get picked up. They weren't out there in the first place. You wait till the next time they get picked up. Kevin and Ron, they did out on Colonel Point. They were out there for 2 days, all day long, picking up leaves. Third day comes, they're not out there because they were all done. People started calling and complaining because they weren't picking up the leaves, and they were out there for 2 straight days. People just start going out and moving more leaves in.
No, they weren't out there for 2 straight days.
Well, I'm just going by what Kevin and Ron said to me. I wasn't there, but that's what they said, but
We gotta bring this back.
But I agree
Okay.
with them, and then when you get to where you put leaves in the pile, You don't put rocks in the pile, you don't put branches in the pile,
All
you
that
don't put
stuff.
chunks of wood in the pile.
Could you guys maybe work together and come up with some centralized locations, bags, like an area that you would do, and you and Mitch talk about it, and one of you bring it to us?
We were talking about that today,
Awesome.
and of that part, because he said some other stuff, but, you know, I'm not, he's my boss, I can't really say anything more about that.
That's fine.
Okay. I think the parts showed up today for it.
Handy, finally.
Do you know, did Kevin say,
They weren't there when I left at 2.
he gave the truck driver his number, he said they were supposed to be there
Yeah,
today.
he said they were on freight, they would be there,
Coming out of Ohio or somebody.
and that for being a small box, he didn't understand why they sent it, they shipped it freight instead of mail.
Well, please pass it along to Mitch that, yeah, you guys, since you're doing the work, come up with something that works for you and bring it to us, please.
And you're never gonna stop people from claiming that.
Yeah, I know, I'm just saying, you know, that's the biggest thing, because it makes Mitch feel
Right.
like
And it's
he's
not
doing his
so big a
job, but with
personal.
people saying that, it making you guys think that he's not doing his job, even though
we
he
know.
We know better, we know better.
Yeah, I was with him, I know how hard he works.
Yes,
Yeah, no. We'll make sure we let him know that we do understand he's doing his job.
Snow.
Oh, yeah,
Snow.
we have none.
Well, yeah, and we talked about it a little bit at DDA, that maybe DDA and the chamber need to get in on some of the snow removal, because that's also not equally distributed amongst the township.
Right.
And DDA was more than happy to try and figure out some sort of giving some cash to us to do that for them, for everyone. Is that right?
You got it kind of covered that way. We need to work out how it's going, and the question of, we clean all the sidewalks, and in some towns it's not that way.
Totally.
This is what you asked, I'll give it to you now, so wait until the next DDA meeting. Yeah, that's when, when they put the
Streetscape.
streetscape in,
Thank you for getting that.
yeah. Oh, you done then, sir?
Yep.
That puts us down to 5, the ACH
Transactions.
transaction.
It's just something we need to, make sure we do and we follow the procedures for it, so. It's pretty much a fill in the blank. And this came from MTA.
So this is a policy?
I would say that's along these lines, Pat, but this just came from them, that this is how these need to be handled. And then if you're gonna make
So
it a
the-
policy, then of course, then you fill in the blanks of who will and what.
We have an ACH policy.
And the only
that
thing
is-
we do with
These are
ACH,
payments, these
Okay.
are
the
payments.
only payments we do ACH are what? The gas card, the Wex, the Marathon gas card,
The Staples card.
the state, which is actually the debit card.
Right, but what you're doing is, you're buying and you're paying and nobody else is seeing any invoices or anything else, and that's where the problem lies.
And I guess I'm not sure how to do that, like, so same thing when I go to the post office. I use my debit card to purchase the stamps. I'm doing that on my debit/credit card, and that's the same thing that I'm doing with the Staples. So I don't know
You have to have
how,
an invoice somewhere, somehow.
which I generate, but
Yeah.
that's after the payment is made.
As long as, no, I see what you're saying.
I don't know how, but yeah, I don't know how to make that work, Nancy, that's what I'm asking.
Perhaps you should not be doing it that way as a debit card. That's probably the problem right there. You are the only person in control of that card 100%
Right.
without anybody else on the
Right.
board even okaying anything or seeing the payment. And that's the big thing.
So
So,
how do I do that? I guess
is that just a debit card? Can it be ran a different way?
it's a debit card or a credit card.
But it has to be able to get you an invoice of some type and of what you have done. Okay, but this actually says anything ACH and exactly how you do it. Okay, let's go down here to this one.
So you more or less just wanna see a
No.
invoice.
Okay, start here. Clerk initiates the transaction upon receipt of an invoice included on the authorized ACH list approved by the appropriate township official. ACH invoices must be approved before payment. The clerk signs the ACH invoice, then that acts as the warrant. The clerk presents the warrant or check, a list of bills for payment, and a separate list of electronic payments for board approval. Board approves all transactions prior to disbursement. Following the board approval, the treasurer signs the ACH warrant, initiates the electronic transaction with the vendor, and makes the actual transfer of funds. The treasurer retains all ACH transaction documents for audit. The clerk retains all invoices. So a lot of this is credit cards and how those are being paid, but you've gotta have a tracking, or that there's no internal controls on any of
And
it.
I guess I'm just asking how to do that.
We'll work on it if you can't, if you don't
You
know.
wanna-
No,
we will.
I'm not
We
trying to
will.
be difficult, Nancy, I'm really not.
Well,
But
all
I
I gotta
don't
do
know
is
how-
make one phone call. I will call MTA and say, okay, she's using a debit card, she doesn't get anything, how do we handle this?
Well, I mean,
Because
I've
they're the
got-
ones that approach this.
I've got so when I go to the post office and use my debit
And
card.
I know you do that.
No, and so I'm just using that example, I get my slip,
Right.
I come back, I put in the BSNA,
Well,
but it's already paid by then, so
I know.
that's the step.
there's
I don't-
Right.
still,
No,
Well,
the
it has to
person
be
needs to
paid.
go in there.
or something, I
Does
don't know,
the
I will
township
ask
have a
them,
credit
but, Pat, you used to
It's
have a
what-
Staples credit
Not a
card.
debit card.
And they
don't have a
canceled
credit
it,
card.
so I don't have a Staples
Who
credit card.
canceled
Cause
it?
everybody
Staples,
Staples.
they no longer have, right.
Okay,
So I use my debit card, it's the same debit card that I used when I did the MTA conference payment with you guys.
I think there's a little confusion on what an ACH payment is.
Okay.
We do it at work every day. Somebody calls in, say, hey, I got my bill, I wanna set up an ACH payment for it. They give you your bank account and your routing number, and your account number. Doesn't have to do with your credit card, debit card, or anything. It automatically comes right out of your checking account or savings account if you've got it set up that way.
yeah,
So, when you say you get an invoice already, you have the option to go out and pay it however you want to. ACH is just one of the options that you can utilize. A lot of places are doing it so they don't have to charge you processing fees and
Right.
some other things.
right,
And it automatically transfers funds. Timing is a lot of it too, so.
right.
I don't know if that helped
And
at all.
that's-
It sounded like there was some
we're
confusion over what it really was.
Confusing ACH with like a credit card payment, cause really that's what I'm in effect doing, is a credit card payment to,
Well, it's like if I go to the grocery store and I use my debit card to buy my groceries, yes, I understand that, but I can do that for mine. What I'm
Right.
afraid is we're gonna get in trouble with is we're spending board money and only one person is seeing it.
yeah,
So
and
we'll find a
honestly-
way to work through that.
Yes, and I'm
You
willing
know,
to do
because
that,
as
I'm
I say,
just not
that's
sure.
part of our internal controls that we're not doing. So we'll go from
Can you
there.
put a dollar limit on that, like you are for your department heads?
Well,
She's
that
already
is
got
out
a limit.
of, that is right out of the township checking account, okay? And so, yes, probably you could have a debit card with a limit on expenditures. You know,
Do you have, I'm just asking, so if I,
I don't really know, usually it's what's in your account.
when I needed
Right.
stamps,
You can get a debit card that has a real low limit on it and put funds in it and.
But again, it's not what is being spent, it's how,
The steps.
it's the steps.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
the
and I
steps.
honestly don't know how,
It's the
because
steps.
Nancy, you have a debit card with chemical, you don't, do you?
No, I think with Sydney.
But the general fund, if you had,
Yeah.
you would need your own.
How about the day you guys do the CD, you guys call MTA together?
We can do that, yeah. We'll talk to her. Sounds good to
Well,
me.
do you not get a receipt?
Right, but no, I've never seen a receipt. She probably has it in her file, because she keeps receipts, she's the keeper of the records. We get a printout on paper, so it's just a point where we could be in trouble at some point in time. I don't want that to happen.
It'll be the first time.
Won't be the last.
It won't be the last.
Okay, let's move on. The chamber, as you always know, they always had their Easter egg up in the park. That ain't gonna happen this year. They were gonna have it down here, that's not gonna happen. They wanted to make sure it was okay, they had it out to no park.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me.
Okay,
I move that the egg hunt for 2024 is at Knoll Park.
I second.
motion by Sarah, second by Nancy to have the egg hunt out to no park. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. That moves us to 7 Nancy's.
Yeah, okay, so Sarah and I both noticed this after our last board meeting, and then I just approached Alicia about it before this one. There is an all-day class, the first day of the conference, which is on Monday. It's called Show Me the Money. It's about raising, spending, and reporting township dollars. It's $125 each. We do each have that, and so I would like to make a motion that, I'm gonna throw this on Pat again, that Pat, signs us up for that class.
I will second that.
Motion by Nancy, second by Sarah to
Add another class.
add another class for $125 a person. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
And I don't know how to do that. Now,
You coming in tomorrow? I'll be here.
You guys are buddies this week.
No, I mean, I can't get out of here.
Because we've already registered, you're not sure how to add that
well, no,
class.
but if I'm not able to use my debit card to make that payment, I don't know how to do that.
Well,
Oh, I see where you're going now.
there's a call to MTA.
Yeah.
MTA
Yeah.
first.
You know, and a lot of times, especially with MTA, you can mail them a payment. But we've gotta figure out how this registration first, because we've already registered this for the other
Right,
ones.
right,
So,
and then,
yeah.
Okay. Put this down. Oh,
I should be, because I forgot to add this, but April, I have a report to do. We've got to, document how we are going to spend our ARPA monies. We've got to commit those monies in April, okay? Now, it doesn't mean that, I think it doesn't mean that they can't be changed, because they still have until April of 2026, or December of 2026 to spend them, whatever board is here. But we have to let them know in a report what we've decided to spend our monies on. So let's think about it in the next board meeting.
why don't we take our 20,000 that we just gave the fire department out of it? Oh, no, they got their own money.
It
No,
doesn't
we-
matter, it could be spent wherever, I mean, any safety equipment is certainly qualified for that, but that does not spend all that money, okay?
Can it go
Any
to the park?
unspent money,
I think, didn't we have a discussion about this not too long ago?
Yes, I would like to add, I asked Mike to please get us some prices for AEDs,
Oh, yeah.
and there needs to be training that goes along with them. So I would move that after we talk with Mike about getting training for us, we put some of that ARPA money in an AED for the gym.
sounds perfect.
That sounds perfect.
Basically, what I'll do when I,
What was your prices?
Mike has a,
16, 20, 15, 60, 13, 70, 16.
That's what I had from 14 to 3,000.
Yeah.
That's all you want.
What I'm waiting for to get you the finalized pricing is the county has AEDs that they have distributed. We have one at the fire station. We can't use it on the public, only on our own personnel. But what I did is I went back to the vendor and said, I need one that is compatible with what the county uses. What this does, once you put the two pads on the person, it's got electronic leads that comes back and plugs into the AED unit itself. I want the same brand that the county uses, so when the ambulance pulls up, they unplug that cord, plug it into their device to do all the monitoring, and they go. They'll leave you with another set of wires and pads. They're interchangeable. That's really, otherwise they gotta rip that off the victim, put new ones back on. It's a pain in the butt, and if anybody's ever been involved with them, it's not a pleasant process, so.
What training is there due on it? Is it, it's gonna be hanging up for anybody that's renting the place?
Yes, but, and there's a card you can open up that shows you exactly what you gotta do. Once you put the pads on, depending on if it's an infant, depending on the person and so on, you put them in different places. There's just some basic things that I feel you guys should know about as well.
Okay.
And could you have a public, like, come and let's show them how to use it as
Yeah,
well?
we can do that. I wouldn't have a problem putting it on for you guys.
You know what I mean?
That's not a problem. We can have them come in, we'll just go over it.
We demo it on you?
What's that?
We demo it on you?
No,
I don't think we're doing that.
I will not. Well,
I don't
but
think
I will volunteer our supervisor.
Ah, yeah.
Actually, what's funny is they have a training video that goes through it, and they have, pads that you use that are just for training only,
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
Second.
I will have at the March board meeting how much money is left, and we'll make the decision, so come up with ideas or whatever, yes, it can be used for the park, it should be used for these AEDs.
This motion's on the floor.
Yeah, let's get working on it, there is about $136,000, I think, right now.
With that price?
Correct, because we have, here's 4 in a row, and he's going to firm it up. Kurt got ones that are between 1,500 and 3,000, these are all under 2,000. Because we have kids in here, people exercising, anyone in the township can rent it, that is something I think should be here.
Oh, what, no, I
You don't-
agree.
You don't want a motion now until he gets us exact price and what we
Yes.
do, right?
That's what I was
Right,
asking,
that's what we were-
right?
So,
And a earmark is basically, an earmark of ARPA money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
that's fine.
you don't need no motion or nothing.
Well, I made a motion to make the earmark for the ARPA money
Okay,
to
let me
when
put
we
it
get
this
it.
way, do we want to okay this when you get all your information, and you wanna ahead of time say it's gonna cost this much? Order it, or what? What do you
By
want?
next meeting, Mike?
Oh, yeah, probably by the end of the week.
Awesome.
Okay, so.
Sure.
okay.
I'll rescind my motion, we'll do the next one.
All right.
Any more? That puts us down to public comment. Roger?
I gotta deal with this sewer pond rental deal out here. Now, are you doing the same thing to the Amish guy, that you guys are doing to Kurt?
No, the Amish guy doesn't have a conflict of interest.
But anytime you rent land from anybody, if I'm growing marijuana on it, I don't have to tell you how much I make and give you a cut of it. Well, you're trying to tell him that that's what you gotta do. It looks like a witch hunt to me.
It's a law.
It ain't no law.
If
Yeah,
you're
it is
going
a
on
law.
Township property.
He's elected supervisor.
And then you should get rid of that piece of ground and see who you can find to rent it.
That's true too.
I bet you won't find nobody.
Could he get somebody else in his family to rent it, then he wouldn't be renting it?
He could rescind himself from voting, or recuse himself from voting then, because he'd be voting.
If it's
in
under
something
Kraken
different.
Farms, it wouldn't be under Kurt anyway, it's under a corporation.
Anyone who would like to look up Public Act 317 of 1968 can have their questions answered.
And look up your public act of your trash ordinance too from Macomb County, it's 1975. If you got a brush pile in your yard, if you call a campfire, it's rubbish. Look that one up. The sheriff will be out.
Anybody else? Stan?
I would like a park update.
As of Friday, they hauled 6,000 yards out back. Thought he was maybe just a touch over half done.
You gonna pull up the playground equipment and spread it out level, or what are you gonna do out there?
We already have.
Oh, have you, they just haven't moved it over there yet?
I moved the top dirt off for it.
Oh, okay. And then how about the south side? Gonna have to go that way too, or not?
I'm gonna wait and make sure, see how we're gonna end up out here. They had a call, they had a special Monday, cause the power that went to the main box that fed the old palladium and the horn came from over here, and it was right in their way.
Oh.
And they wouldn't dig anything there till it got disconnected. So now their consumers is gonna come in from the south side, go up to the storm horn, new horn, put the box there, and then they'll run all their wires out of there for the park.
So
The
you're
first load of blocks showed up today.
Oh, good. But you're gonna be level from the street over here by the church, all the way, graded right down to the road there,
Pretty much. So.
Meyer Street. You're gonna be a full flat field, the whole thing there. That's a lot nicer than it was. To get grass back on it.
Yeah, get grass back on
Not
it.
nice and flat and easy to mow.
Anybody else?
Is the township the ones that got those shredding people to come in a
No.
couple years ago?
Or, for along the roads?
No.
Oh, you shred the
shredding.
bills and.
Yeah.
I think that was a county, wasn't it?
That wasn't the solid waste?
It was solid waste, and they had such a low response there, I don't think they're gonna do it again.
Really?
Yeah. Cause I have a ton of stuff in my office that needs shredded. Yeah, they just didn't have a good response.
And you can't put that in recycling?
Outside word.
I would rather not, some of them are copies of people's
You have
checks.
to go through your stuff.
No,
You
I
have to
mean, I
shred
shred
it.
stuff, I've got
Uh-huh.
paper shredded, and I can't put that shredded paper in the
You
recycling?
can,
Yes,
You
yeah,
can.
you just,
Getting it shredded.
getting,
Okay.
the
yeah,
process of
yeah, you
shredding.
can, sure.
And I
Sure
can't
on
put that in
that?
a bag?
Down in Carson, they rejected
Cannot
shredded
put the
paper
bag
going
in
into
there.
the crushers,
You have
because
to
it's
empty
messing
the
up the
bag.
machines.
Okay,
Okay,
is that all right?
Yeah.
All right,
I just don't wanna make a mess for the neighbors, but.
I see what you're saying.
there too far, surely.
Yeah, no, that's the whole point, that we don't want any arms in it. That's automatic, you don't know when it's gonna cycle.
I'm not sticking, I'm not
So,
sticking my arm.
why don't you cover the buttons? Why don't you put a hinge and a cover with a padlock or something?
And-
If you don't want people poking buttons, you gotta cover the
We are,
buttons.
we are number 6 to get these.
Oh, okay, so it's
Every single
already,
one has,
sorry.
every single
yeah,
township or city or village has wanted to do that.
oh, okay.
And it's an ANSI requirement because it has to be visually and audibly able to be seen and heard from their controller, is what we heard from the speed tech guys.
It's like,
All you need is a emergency stop, that's all you need.
we have that. Main thing, I'm just telling people, don't push buttons. Don't push any buttons.
I'd say don't put a sign
I
up
know. We put it this way, they have to come down off the steps and walk over here to push
Don't
the
push
button.
this
Over
button.
there.
But do they really want to do
The
that? They
problem
probably
is, they
will.
probably put a sign up there, and we got so many kids, they'll probably be up there and they'll say, hey,
No.
it says don't push signs, so
Lakeview,
they're gonna push it.
Lakeview tried that didn't go over, they pushed it more.
Lord,
That's
man.
why we got the video policy.
Yeah.
I'll know if you push the button.
Anybody else?
Motion.
Get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, eight twenty-seven.
Motion by Lee, second by Nancy to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Motion carried.
No, Sarah said, we decided to.
Well, I mean, I was gonna keep this, I wasn't reading.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, well, I will try to remember to give you the.
Joy.
Oh, no.
Yes, it is.
Yep.